with anyone. I could be with anyone. You're here with me. You're here with me. You could be around with me. You could be with anyone. I could be with anyone. You're here with me. You're here with me.
Let's get it. In the wild, wild sports of play stupid games and win stupid prizes, we have another contender who decided that they wanted to open up their relationship for their own selfish reasons. And when they did that, it backfired on them. And now, breakup is likely, as they termed it. Let's take a listen to the story. His girlfriend is 21 years old. She's very Christian, and her parents planted a church where we live 10 plus years ago. So stop right there. Her parents are so Christian that they planted a church, meaning that they built up a church so that they could be, I guess, the pastor and pastor's wife, and this is the pastor's child that he has. So you know she grew up in that type of family, what kind of background you're dealing with. So let's continue. I, 28 years old male, have introduced her to the outside world a little. And he gives a little smiley face, winking emoji. Okay, that's cute. So you introduced her to the streets. You brought her to the streets. And now we'll see what happens. So I made her a Tinder account, and we had a threesome with another guy that my girlfriend and I found. Okay, so you got together. You decided this is what you want to do. Okay, you guys are grown. Do what you want to do. The goal was for me to have her comfortable with her first, plus one, and then have our next with a girl. For me, obviously, she isn't into girls. So this was all part of your plan. It wasn't that you were trying to open up her horizons or give her a new experience or, introduce her to more, I guess a little alley on the streets. But you wanted to try to have your own selfish needs and ends met, so you thought you would manipulate the situation. So this is all done by you because you weren't being honest. And the number one golden rule of any type of relationship, especially ones where you're going to try to do non-traditional relationships where you start opening them up, you have to maintain honesty. Honesty is critical in order for those types of relationships to work. If you can't trust one another, you can't trust each other's motivation, then none of this makes any sense. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense if your goal is to be in a monogamous soul relationship, but to each his own. We ended up meeting that night. The boundaries were that he couldn't kiss her and he could do everything, I guess, kiss other places and all that kind of stuff. He just couldn't kiss her in the mouth. So they go into some more specifics that I'm not going to get into here. Said this is a girl that is super Christian and would never cheat on me. Or so I thought. I guess he's upset now. And I like how he turns the whole, she's a super Christian, so therefore she wouldn't possibly be doing this. As he introduced her to the streets. You opened up her world because you wanted to make her more worldly, and now she's more worldly. And now you're complaining. You're getting what you want, but you're complaining about it. He goes on, I really thought that I found the one that would maintain 100% loyalty. Loyalty to what? Maybe I'm confused. Because again, you could make the argument, for most, I'll start here. Strike that redirect. For most monogamists, as soon as you open up your room, then there is no more loyalty because you're adding one and you can only be loyal to that one person, your partner. But if you expand the definition, you expand your mind, you open be open more towards like wider horizons, and you say that we're going to have more of a polyamorous relationship, we're going to have more of a polygamous relationship, whatever the case may be, we're going to start adding people or adding these types of experiences into our relationship, then the only way it makes sense for that to happen, again, is through honesty. You have to be able to openly talk about your fantasies, your hopes, your dreams, your desires, be open about your boundaries, and be open about your motivations. So you actually violated the loyalty portion of this before she did anything else, because you went into it with different reasons. You went in there, thinking that you were going to be able to take advantage of the situation, and when things didn't work out for you, now all of a sudden you want to throw the Christian card in her face. Just doesn't work. At least it doesn't work for me. Anyway, during the coronavirus lockdown, I have been either working or playing video games, and admittedly so, have neglected her to the point where she is felt lonely. I figured that out now, evidently. Anyway, I decided to hang out with this guy, just me and him, and go do a fun hobby. So you wanted to go hang out with the guy that you opened up your relationship, and you thought it was going to be a one-time experience, but you're bringing him back. You're bringing him back into the relationship, and you're actually making him a fundamental or functional part of your relationship experience. If he's there, and this is just a one-time, one-off thing, then you guys should make it, if it's like that, then I wouldn't see a reason why you guys would contact one another unless you wanted to make this an ongoing thing. And of course, if she's into guys and you're doing that, and that experience has already been had, especially with somebody who doesn't have a whole lot of wealth of experience when it comes to this type of physical interaction, then it's very likely that she will feel comfortable enough that you already crossed that Rubicon, that she doesn't mind going back and forth with that person. So it's just something to think about. Anyway, let's see. We had a great time. Then we came back to my apartment, and I told my girlfriend that he was here. We ended up hanging out on the couch with me in the middle. We started watching a few movies. So you thought you were safe because you were sitting in a position? Oh yeah, it's all good. I'm going to sit in the middle of you guys. We're going to keep everything separate. It'll be fun. So when I came out one time, they were sitting very close to each other. And when I sat down, I had to move them both away. So you wouldn't even let them sit next to each other, which is kind of weird because they had already been in the boudoir with each other. So it's not really like you breaking something up. He knows what she looks like, in the raw. So I don't know, I just, all of a sudden you're protective. Come on, man. Now you're jealous. When I came back again, I saw them holding hands. Oh. And on a second occasion, with his hand under her booty, touching her. And he asked me after I caught them the second time, what type of boundaries are there tonight? Tonight! So he went over there with the full plan of that he was going to be doing some things, and your activity that he planned on doing with you was not going to be limited to the hobby that you guys had planned on doing with each other. So clearly, if you're calling me to come over there and do some things that we did before. So that's why he was hanging out with you, because he was hanging out with you for that experience that he had before. It's not that out of pocket. It's not even that big of a stretch that he would think that he's going to continue doing the type of relationship that you guys started out with. So I said, no kissing on the lips, but anything else is okay except, going all the way. Bango, bango. So none of that. So they just cuddled all night, 3 to 5 hours on the couch. Ooh, they cuddled. That's even worse. Oh, that's even worse. Because that's them building a bond with one another. That's not just not rock'em sock'em robots. That's them actually, connecting. And you brought that home. The next day, I talked to my girlfriend about how I was uncomfortable about this, and she said she would never see him again or talk to him, that she loved me and didn't want to talk or be with anyone else. This same night, I saw her smiling at the phone, so I took it away that they were and saw that they were planning on meeting up the next day while I was going to be doing something else. Yeah, of course. Because she got a little sample. Now she got a little sample trial. Now she want to try to taste the whole thing. She want to go the whole 9. She wants the full Monty. You did it. This is what you invited in. And this is what I've always said about these types of relationships. You have to recognize and acknowledge that if you bring people, once you open your door to somebody else, you're not just bringing in a blow-up doll. You're bringing in a human being. That person can connect with your person. That person is going to want to have experiences and delve into deeper relationships potentially with your other person, and you don't have control over your partner either. The only person in this situation you have control over is yourself. So you don't have the ability to dictate whether she is desirous of a future relationship with this guy, whether she wants to continue seeing him, etc., etc., etc. The only real thing you have in this relationship is whether you're going to continue to see her after she does that. First, let's see. After I confronted her with this, she freaked out and yelled at me for looking at her phone. That's always awesome. Like you catch somebody doing something and they yell at you for catching them doing a thing that they shouldn't have been doing. Like, oh, yeah, I'm wrong for cheating on you, but at the same time, you shouldn't have been looking at my phone. What does your phone have to do with anything? If you wasn't cheating, me looking at your phone wouldn't be a big deal, would it? So it's just something to think about. So first she lied about kissing him on the lips, which I found out through the guy and through her own self-admission afterwards was a lie. Okay, she lied about kissing him. All right. She was planning on doing way more, apparently, if they was talking about meeting up. So that was already in the mix. So welcome to the party, bro. She lied about making plans the next day and kissing him on the lips. The original +1 that we planned for it to be only a physical interaction, and that was what I intended to keep it. Thoughts? You planned for it to be a physical interaction because you wanted to get to another goal. You wanted to try to give her this so that you could throw it in her face so that you could get that. The problem that you have is once she got this, you gave her a little bit of this and she wanted a lot more of this. And she didn't really care about that. So you never even got the opportunity to say, hey, let's bring in a girl. And that's problems in and of itself. During the time that he gave this, like first things first, like your relationship is toast. Like that's, and there is a way that unless she really wants to try to work things out with you, your relationship is toast because she's already kind of moved on. And to be honest with you, even in the realm of, well, we opened it up and this is something we wanted to try, even in that realm of trying to be exploratory in your, what you're trying to do as far as the boudoir, that's cool, that's great, that's wonderful. But at the end of the day, because there's already been dishonesty, you guys can't trust each other. So that trust has been ruined. She's lied about what she's doing, which technically, even though you invited him in, that's technically cheating because it was something that was done outside the boundaries of your relationship. So that technically would be cheating. So ultimately, no matter how you like it, no matter how you peel this pear, your relationship is toast. During the time that he had posted this, I noticed that there were a few comments that came in, and he re-uploaded a comment, and I wanted to share it here. It said, I did not open up the relationship. We mutually agreed on a one-time thing with a potential for future opportunities if it was possible or if it was positive. Now, here's the thing. You wanted to present it as a one-time thing because you wanted future opportunities with a different woman. It wasn't a thing that it was a mutual thing. You presented it for your own reason. Now you're lying to the people who are giving you advice, which is always a bad idea. Because if you ask somebody for advice, you ask somebody for guidance, you ask somebody for their thoughts, if you only give them half the story, or you only give them part of the story, or you lie about significant portions of the story, the advice that they give you, or observations, whatever you want to call it, are going to be trash. Garbage in, garbage out. So they very well may have taken a different tack if you told them the whole truth. You tell them one thing, you might get one piece of direction. You tell them the whole story, they say, oh no, don't do that. That's the absolute worst thing you can do in light of what you just said, in the realm of everything you just said. So you need to do this. So that's just something to think about. Why else do you think I would have another guy involved in a +1? I don't like guys. The idea was her to feel comfortable with another guy since she has some self-esteem issues. Oh my goodness. So she has some self-esteem issues with how good she looks. She's gorgeous. So now you're doing her a favor. Like, this dude is like, you got problems, man. Like, you got to get yourself together. Like, you're not ready for the type of relationships that you're talking about you want to engage in. Now, I kind of take the position that there are certain people who are built for these types of relationships. This isn't something that everybody can do. And nor is it a thing that everybody should try. Like, I know we try to make it normalized and we try to make it, whether it's acceptable or not is, it is what it is. Like, people are going to do what they're going to do. Everybody is an adult as long as they're involved with this. But we try to make it more convenient and more accessible to everyone, when in reality, most people aren't equipped to deal with these types of relationships. This is very hard if you are a person who sees yourself as a strict monogamous, who only wants to be with your partner and only wants to share these types of experiences with one person. These types of relationships will destroy you. So the idea that I'm going to give her this thing because she has low self-esteem, you're not looking out for her. You are just looking out for yourself. And you are using her. And there's a possibility, just reading through this, it really sounds to me like there's a question as to whether, and this may not be true, this may not be all the way, but at least it gives me a hint that you may not have truly saw her. You may have saw this beautiful girl who you thought you could open up to a certain thing and get her to act the way you want her to act. She'll be wild and crazy as far as you want her to be wild and crazy. But because she has the background and the upbringing that she has, there'll be certain restraints and, more, dare I say, a leash on her behavior that you could control. And what you found out was she's a person with her own hopes and dreams. And once you open her up to that world, now she's open to it. The last thing he said that I thought was ridiculous was he said, I am surprised that someone who is so faith-based would go behind my back and have a romantic interest and lie about it. You tore her away from that faith-based upbringing, though. You can't introduce her to a thing and then be mad because she's participating in that thing. To be honest with you, I don't think that you really introduced her into this particular experience of this world in a wholesome way, in a way that was trying to improve her, your relationships, or even introduce her as a person to this new experience. You wanted to get something out of her. You wanted to do something you may have seen in entertainment, in the movies, or something that you and your buddies were sitting around talking about that you thought was cool, and you went out, you tried it, you played stupid games, and you won stupid prizes. You effed around and you found out. That's what I think. Let me know what you guys think down below. Go ahead. If you watch the videos, make sure you like the videos, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, boom, boom, and I'll see you in the next one. That's My Take. I'm James. This has been My Take on Reality, and I'm out.
'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCA.